Yeah, general duties of a bow person on match racing is, first the mechanics, trimming of the jib, and then putting the spinnaker up and down, and jib up and down, pull up and down. And then mainly the most important role, non-mechanics, is calling lay lines to the marks, time and distance to the starting line.
I don't spend much time on the bow, so this is a whole new experience for me. But it was very acrobatic, and I think the toughest part was just like the tacks. You had to go from sitting behind the shroud, hiking full out on the shroud, holding onto the base of it, to tacking within seconds, going in front of the mast, in between the jib and the mast, and then back behind the shroud. So that was tough. And then also the spin sheets were really short on this boat, so the pole was really hard to get on at the windward mark. And then just downwind was acrobatic too. It was hard to hear a lot of the time, so you just kind of had to feel the boat jiving and then go with it when it was time.
These boats are small. They're 20-21 feet, and but they're really wide, so there's plenty of room to move around. And the only difference is if you have a pretty heavy helmsman and middle person like our boat, the forward person has to go up on top of the deck, either to leeward or to weather, but overlap with the cabin. So that takes an extra couple steps to do that. But otherwise, the mechanics of the boat are all the same. You're launching out of the companionway. It's actually easier than a sonar to launch a kite. So not too bad.
Some of the windward mark roundings, I felt like I was going to fall off just because you're putting so much of your body into the spin halyard that your feet kind of fall out below you, or some of the jives where you would jive hot. You go to put the pole on and it's so much force on there that your feet might slip below you or something. And yeah, the leeward mark roundings were tough too, especially in the lighter days when you had to transition from being on the actual foredeck to being below, which is what we were doing with our fourth person.
You have to be in a place in terms of boat balance, but oftentimes there's a shroud there, or a hole for the companionway, or a mast in your way, or sheet in your way. So there's a lot of kind of jumping up and over sheets, up and over someone's arm or something like that, and there's a lot of stuff in your way, but it can't stop you from getting to the position you need to for leeward weight when it's light, or going through waves and that kind of stuff, because if you miss that, then you can lose a boat length or just miss a pin on someone. So you figure out, that's why everyone's so funny when they're jumping around these boats, especially the forward person, because you figure out as you go how the best way to get from point A to point B when there's 5 things in your way. So it looks kind of funny.
So in the tacks, going from behind the shroud to behind the shroud on the other side was tough. You pretty much had to step up onto your feet really quickly, wait for the boat to roll on top of you, and then what I was doing was putting one finger in the ring on the mast and then one finger on the lower ring on the mast, and then holding onto that, hoping I wouldn't fall off, and then going in between the mast and the jib to the new side. So that was a lot of fun, hoping that you wouldn't get caught by the jib or your feet were in the right spot. That was fun.
The biggest thing for myself is you're launching a kite out of the companionway. So the spinnaker halyard is draped back, and it's basically right in between you, and actually further back, almost in the way of your middle person, between you and your sheet. So luckily the jib leads on these were further aft, or the trimming point was further aft. So you tack backwards, and as you go through, you have to push this dangling spinnaker halyard forward. And then after that, you spin around and you have to jump up on the deck and shift forward to get in front of the cabin house. On these boats, it was an additional thing had to happen, which was not only did you have to shift forward, but you had to get your foot on the actual cabin house to keep from sliding down, because the boats were really slippery, and then also to get some leverage to trim it. So you kind of do a pirouette, push a halyard out of your way and the crew member's way, and then get your foot in a position. Otherwise, if you don't do it quick enough, you just slide all the way down again.
Well, generally being in match racing is just a lot more fun. It's like team racing, but so much more fun because it's just one-on-one, and you either win or you lose. So I think that's the really fun part about it. And there's a lot more crew work that goes into it, being on the keel boat. So being a skipper is a lot harder, but every position is really hard on the boat, as I've come to realize. And especially the bow is very hard, and the courses are so short. You have so much going on, and if you have a bad leeward mark rounding, you have to clean things up halfway up the beat, and then you get it to the windward mark and things are just cleaned up, and then you go back at it again. So it's a lot of fun, and I really enjoy it.